So gold just hit a 2.5-year low for a spot price. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about a few other things. I hope that seems a little bit mysterious because we need the views. So Thursday, gold broke below a support line, and if you've been looking to back up a truck, well, I'm sure there will be people telling you that now's the time. This is a 2.5-year low for the spot price of gold, and I just got done making a purchase myself, but we get news of the rate hike next week, and there's a potential for more bad news for gold. Now, the short version there is that maybe there's a little bit of caution to be exercised at the moment. Now, I've said a few times that I don't think we'll see gold below $1,500 again, but the sentiment right now for gold is pretty bearish. This isn't a fundamental issue with gold. The current price action revolves mostly around the dollar. That's going to seem oversimplified, especially if you live outside the US, but the performance of the dollar has a huge impact on the price of gold right now. And if we want to expand on that, it's mostly the Fed's stance and the interest rates. Higher interest rates mean higher yield from competing treasury products. So gold has competition as a safe haven asset right now. It's as simple as that. And those rates are about to go up again. And right now the markets are pricing in a 30% probability that that rate hike is actually going to be 100 basis points rather than 75. And we're getting a generally more hawkish stance from the Fed. Now again, I don't think that there's any fundamental change in the value of gold, but the traders are having their say and probably will be until the reality of a market recession sets in, or at least until the Fed begins to change its stance. Now this is a really easy backdrop for an overall negative outlook, but I'm not there yet. We all know the performance of gold and silver right now. It's not very impressive. Prices are falling, at least if you're buying in USD, but that has very little to do with gold itself, and even with silver itself. All the remaining bulls, they just happen to be hanging out in other fields. Gold has a lot of competition right now. It's very hard to say what's going to happen in the next few months. I think it'll rebound, but I can't say when. So no backing up the trucks for me. I'm not feeling compelled to go crazy. And if you're watching from another country, it's pretty likely that you aren't seeing this drop at all because that exchange rate right now is just not normal either. This is a strange time. Now, a quick point on what I picked up. I picked up an American Eagle, obviously, and the reason that I did that is because that's what my dealer had. Now, they've had high premiums lately, and that makes it a little bit harder to purchase them. I got this one for a good deal, though. I got it at a 7% premium, and a lot of people have been saying they're not seeing that at all. They're complaining about premiums going up at a rate about equal to spot price going down. Now, the issue there is that dealers haven't cycled through the inventory that they picked up at higher prices yet. And that means higher premiums and fewer deals. Now, over the last 2 weeks, I spoke to about a half a dozen local coin shop owners, and they all said the same thing. They aren't in any real hurry to sell because they're doing it in a lot of cases at a loss. The dealer that I just went to see, he's an all-around nice guy. He's not thrown by these price swings, but I'm sure he's not real excited about the current price trend. Now back to the Eagles. It is what everybody wants, outside of YouTube at least. Now I went to 2 coin shows this summer. I spoke with dealers and a few buyers, and for gold, Eagles were considerably more popular than anything else. Now, Cheech Wizard made a point in the comments about how incredibly boring Eagles are, and I make it a point not to argue with anyone named Cheech Wizard, but if you want to take advantage of price drops, you don't buy high premium collectibles. And if you intend to liquidate at any point, well, Eagles, they're just easier. Don't worry though, Cheech. I'm going to come back to the rest of your comment in a minute. We're going to do a little bit of a weekly roundup, so stick with me though for one more point. This video is mostly about gold since the drop in silver isn't new, but since I'm on the topic of Eagles and people's perception of them on and off YouTube. And I mentioned that I just picked up 10 silver Eagles in an earlier video. I did that last week when spot dropped, I think to the 17s. It was 17s, right? It's hard to remember when the premiums on these coins are like 60 to 90%. And a surprising number of you asked why I would buy silver Eagles. And it's a fair question, so I'll answer it. I buy them because they're what everybody wants. I mean, even more so than American Gold Eagles. And I've seen a lot of people on YouTube saying not to buy them, making like whole videos about just that. But if you talk to people in the real world, they're what they want, at least in terms of modern bullion. I understand the logic of buying Maple Leafs because they're cheaper, or one-off Daffy Duck coins, or whatever DC or Marvel, whatever coin is out, because those are fun. But if I'm stacking weight and I need a better price point, I'm going to switch to 10-ounce bars. Now, I got my Eagles for $29, by the way, and that just seems ridiculous, but I can turn around and sell them for $30 because my local shops, well, they're getting $35 for them, and they're getting that all day. And I just can't think of another coin that I'm not immediately in the hole on. If I was buying them for $35, maybe that would change things. And also, I only bought 10 of them. So this was really just about completing that tube. Now, I still think that 10-ounce bars are the way to go with silver if you're stacking weight, and I did pick up one of those as well. But I also think that if you want silver in 1-ounce increments because you think that you might use them in an emergency, well, nothing compares to an American Silver Eagle here in the United States. And that sounds a little bit like a podium lecture, but it's not about speculation at that size. It's about utility, at least to me. And Eagles are the most useful here. Now, I will be the first to admit that if you're stacking silver, we might be doing it for different reasons. If I was stacking by the ounce, I probably would not be okay with 70% premiums. I don't care how useful the coin is, so I completely get why people don't want to buy Eagles in bulk. I'm just small time when it comes to silver these days. And that brings us back to Cheech Wizard and to Glenn. Now, both of them made the comment that it's getting a little bit boring around here these days, and yeah, I agree. How many ways can you say the economy is bad? I do think that the start of this video, that's all valid. It's worth mentioning that gold hit its lowest point since April of 2020, so back up the truck if you're into that. Also, be aware that we get news of the next rate hike next week that might have an effect, and then put that aside for a minute because, sure, there are other things we can talk about here. You don't have to tell me twice, Cheech. And the first alternative topic, of course, is the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. Now, she was the longest reigning monarch in British history. She passed away at age 96, and that alone is quite a feat. It must be all the haggis and blood sausage pudding, all the onion gravy that you Brits eat. Just disgusting. But no disrespect intended here. I have a strict no politics rule, and I think that applies to monarchies as well. So I'll just give a respectful nod. I think that that's due, and I'll move on to the gold and silver related topic here because King Charles III, he might soon be peeking back at you from your stack. The grand majority of the options available for gold and silver bullion coins are now going to bear his likeness. He's going to be on everything from Britannias to Homer Simpson coins, and the question that's coming up is whether we should be buying up current coins with the Queen on them in anticipation of the new monarch making future versions of the coins less attractive. This is going to be up to you. If you don't want Charles on your coins, go for it. But there won't be any lasting price implications. At least, I don't think there will be. It could be something like the American Gold and Silver Eagle Type 2 design change, where some people still prefer the original on both coins, and they'll grab them if they can, but fighting change is hard. I don't see any kind of boycott against coins with the new king effigy on them, and I'd be careful about overspending in hopes of extra appreciation. Now, in my defense, Glenn, it's the economy that's boring. It's not me. I am still the guy that gets hit on at the coin shows. And Cheech, Eagles might be boring, but there also are not a lot of interesting coin releases hitting right now, and I blame Perth Mint for that. They switched course on the Lunar Rabbits. They're going to be coming out next week, and they're releasing the proof versions first. That's just weird. And that might be the first coin released as a proof with one monarch on it and then released in BU with the second. So that's kind of interesting because the BU, they're going to be coming out sometime next year, and for sure by then we're going to have King Charles on the coin. So it's interesting. It might not be enough to get me to buy a proof in the series. Now, I was waiting on the high relief version. That's definitely on my list, but that comes out in December, and that will probably already have King Charles on it. And this is a really good segue to my last alternative topic for the week, and this is a good one. Cheech Wizard asked me to show my favorite coins. I really like the idea. Maybe it's a whole video, but today I'm going to tell you about my top coin, my absolute favorite. And it's the American Gold Eagle. I'm just kidding. My favorite coin is this 2017 ultra high relief lunar rooster from the Perth Mint. Now, the circumstances of its arrival, they're enough reason to make it my favorite. It's a fantastic story. If you haven't seen it, I will link to it, but it was on a pretty significant low. So, so it had been thrown out, and I literally fished it out of filth in a bank of dumpsters. Now, that wasn't the reason for the low. I hopped in thinking that I was digging for a book. So even without the adventure side of things, it was given to me by a fantastic human. It was a complete surprise, and I just don't think I can really get past all of that bias. But even so, this is a gorgeous coin, and I just don't think anyone does it better than the Perth Mint. So what else do I have here? Well, I have a 2020 ultra high relief lunar tiger from the Perth Mint. It's pretty similar to the rooster, and I think this series, though, series 3, is special. The designs are better than the prior lunars, and this tiger is probably a nicer coin than the rooster. It's more rare than the rooster. There are only 188 of these in existence, and if I remember right, there are 288 of the roosters. It also comes in a nicer display box. I think overall it's just a nicer coin. Now, this has some sentimental value as well. I'm going to have to come back to that in another video, but I really don't think I can come up with a nicer coin than this, and I don't think that that's bias speaking. You might be saying to yourself, but hey, there's a 2009 ultra high relief double eagle right there. And you're right, I have 2 of them. They are fantastic coins, and they're easily my favorite US Mint coins. They are even better than the Mustang or the Bronco. And this too probably deserves its own video, and I'll just give you a glance at this real quick because I have a 440 BC Silver Athenian Tetradrachm owl. And I haven't had a whole lot of time to put much thought into this, much less bust it out of this slab. And that's coming. So let me get some thoughts together on this one. But if you thought the American Silver Eagles have high premiums, well, these will blow your mind. But we're going to come back to that. So let's do that. Let's call it good here. This is getting long. I think there's a little bit more to the weekly roundup, but hopefully we can bring that into the next few videos. Keep things a little less boring. So let's get your take. Are you backing up any trucks? What are you buying? And do you want to see more of these kinds of alternative topics that I stitched in at the end? Because they really don't do well here on YouTube, so let us know. And then while you're at it, be sure to hit that like button if you found any of this interesting. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more on the topic. And if you're still here, thanks again for watching. I always appreciate your time. Take care.